Okay, so we're going to proceed, and I'd like to have Bob Colbert. Bob? So Bob, we're ready for you. Now, Bob will share whatever he has on his mind, but I'd like it to open up to questions. So feel free, and Bob, here's the microphone.
All right, yeah, so a little bit about myself. I've been doing this for about 12 years now. I was a contractor. I retired and got into the earthquake preparedness business, survival.
Can you hold this up closer?
Okay, is that better? Yeah, people used to ask me why I got into this business, and I didn't really have a good answer back then. I think I have a little better answer today. The way the world's going, the way things are happening, I believe I've been set up here by God to help people get ready. There's a lot of things going on in the world right now. All you have to do is turn on the TV set and you'll see chaos and riots and burning and everything else. And I used to just talk about earthquake preparedness all the time. It's a little bit more complicated now. Before, it was food and water. I believe that food and water is the most important thing, next to God. I've been selling a lot of water drums lately. It's no coincidence I'm here. I've known Carolyn for several years. I hadn't talked to her in a couple of years. And I emailed her just the other day. And just by some chance, she was telling me that she was doing this here at the church. Another friend of mine that I had delivered a lot of equipment to called me the same day and wanted to know if I was still in business, if I was still delivering drums. I said yes, and he said he was working at his church also. So there's something, I don't know, with what's going on, COVID-19, we all know what that is. There's just a lot going on in the world right now, and I don't think we're going to see a lot of good happen in the next few months. There's rumors in September, October, and especially in December, which is of course, the big election. I think there's going to be a lot more chaos like we're seeing. The groups that are out there burning buildings and rioting and stealing, I think they've already said they're going to expand to different cities, and I'm expecting this to happen. So it's very important that we have food and water put away for more reasons other than just earthquake preparedness. It's possible that we could have a big food shortage coming up. I'm looking any morning to get up and see where some of the grocery stores have been robbed and looted, and the shelves are going to be empty. There's not going to be anything out there. Could be a chain of supermarkets. It could be a mom and pops. But as soon as this happens, I can tell you there's not going to be any food anywhere. There's going to be a mad rush to the food markets. I'm saying this from experience. I just know in less than 24 hours, there's not going to be any food left in there. So I think it's very important that we get food put away, both freeze-dried food. I think you need to go to the supermarkets now while you still can. Get as much food as you can, put it away. I know a lot of you bought freeze-dried food recently. They're sitting over there, and I'm kind of impressed because it shows me that people are actually taking this serious. And I think people should take it serious. And I think God wants you to take it serious also. The food kits are something you want to put on the back burner to get you through the last 72 hours or whatever you have. But first of all, you should go to the supermarkets. Buy anything that you think you might need. Get up in the morning and whether it's toothpaste or toilet paper, you need to get a good supply of this. You need to figure out exactly what you're going to need for 2 or 3 months, because I don't think you're going to be able to actually go to the supermarkets and buy this stuff. I think they're going to be closed down for long. You're probably going to have National Guard surrounding the supermarkets, and it's just I'm not a preacher or a prophet, but I just talk to many people, and that's what I feel is coming. So get as much food as you can. Anything else that you might need, like I said, anywhere from toothpaste, toilet paper, just go through the day and figure out what it is that you might need that you wouldn't be able to get otherwise. Excuse me, I'm a little warm, I've been carrying stuff around. Water is another thing you're going to need. I sell water drums over there. My friend is working at another church. He's probably bought 50 water drum kits off of me. You want to have those as a backup. One water drum there, 55 gallon, will be good for a family of 4 for 2 weeks. This she's holding up here is a pump. That's one of the things that goes with it. And you'll only use that in case you want to change the water in 5 years, or if you need to get the water out. You have a water preserver concentrate that goes with it. It's good for about 5 years. You don't have to change the water, but I suggest putting a date on that. Yeah, you also have the bung wrench. You need that to open up the tops of the water drums. Also got on the other end of it, it's got a wrench that you can use for gas turn-off valve. It's kind of a dual purpose. But these...
And the hose, you didn't get the hose.
No, that and that, and I mean the bung wrench, that, and the water tank. That's what
What is that stuff called? Is that water purifier?
water purifier concentrate. And it's good for 5 years. You put it in, when you put the water in the drum, you just pour this in the drum as you're mixing it in. It mixes up, and you don't have to worry about it for at least 5 years. Yes.
Is that one container good for a 55 gallon drum?
Pardon?
Is that one little?
Yeah, one per
So you
drum.
need one for each full.
One for each drum, right.
What is it?
What is it? It's a water concentrator. It's a purifier. It purifies the water. So there's, now there's a lot of stuff out there to purify your water. Clorox, you use a few drops of Clorox will actually purify your water, but it doesn't have an extender in it. It's not going to last you 5 years. It may be good for 6 months. So that's what this does. This has been tested for 10 years in order to get it to last 5 years. It's EPA approved.
If water is in that drum and a year from now or 2 years from now, you decide to drink it, how's it going to taste?
Well, I'm not going to tell you it's going to taste that great. It's not. It's going to be pure. It's not going to bother you. It's not going to have bacteria in it, but it's probably not going to be the best tasting. But if you take it, you can pour some out. That's what this hose is for. You can pump some out in a 5 gallon pail, take it with you, whatever you want to do. Put it in your refrigerator. It probably tastes a little better if it's cold.
Run it for a burner?
Yeah. And you might even want to get a filter. This will purify it. There's some people that buy, you know about the Berkey filters. The Berkey filters, you can pour water. You could actually pour river water in a Berkey filter and drink it, because it'll purify it. But you don't really need it if you've got this purifier here. And again, as far as taste, not going to be the best tasting in the world, but you're talking about survival. This is like food.
But we will talk about the Berkey in a little while.
Yeah, I've been looking for one myself.
And if I can just interrupt him, I bought one of these barrels about 3 years ago, and at the time I didn't realize how fast 3 years would go. But on my little purifier bottle, I put the date so that I knew when I would need to replenish the purity of the water in my drum.
Another question, if, let's say 5 years goes by and you have to replace the water and purifier, does that interior have to be cleaned?
No. I would maybe take a hose and rinse it out, but it doesn't have to be clean. You can use the pump it out. The water concentrate, you can get it from me, you can get it online, you can get it from other people, but you don't want to take that and store it. The water concentrate, just like it is, it's good for about a year unless you put it in water. If you put it in the water, it's fine for 5 years or more. And the drums are BPA free, they're UN approved, they're made for this. Yeah.
And Jeannie has a question.
Do you have to boil the water before you drink it?
No. That's only if you don't put purifier in.
Where should the barrel be stored?
Okay, I've got mine stored on the patio. I've got several of them. You can store it in a garage. Try and keep it out of direct sunlight. If you put it in direct sunlight, you want to cover it. But it will store anywhere. If you've got it on concrete, you probably want to put some wood under it, a pallet or something, because it will, if it sits there and it rains, after a few years, it might etch some of the lime from the concrete into the drum. Not something that's probably going to happen, but it could. So,
Outdoor guns shed?
Excuse me, but I'm going to interrupt him again, because I put mine on the patio, and I got some cement block and put it underneath. And then if you want to get creative, put flowers or flower pots around it. It looks pretty nice.
yes.
There's a question over here.
Yes.
Outdoor gun shed?
What?
Metal shed? Is it a metal shed?
Oh, put it in the metal shed? Yeah.
Won't get too hot.
Well, yeah, I mean, it probably will, but it's not going to affect the quality of the water. Like I said, after 5 years, you probably want to drink, you want to take it inside and maybe put, in the refrigerator or something. But yeah, it's not going to, the only thing it's going to affect, it would be if you have it out in direct sunlight, the drum, for like 5 years. But most people are not going to do that.
So just tap water?
Yeah, just tap water will work. You can get a hose. They have special hoses. You can buy them, I think, at Lowe's, Home Depot, Walmart. It's so you don't have that hose taste. It's the kind they use in RVs. I got one that's 10 foot. I just took it up. It's actually pretty close. You can get them longer. Just fill it up with that, and yeah, you won't have any problem. You don't have to use that hose. It's a potable hose. It's called a potable hose.
They're normally white with a blue stripe on them.
Right. Yeah.
So I have another question. Since so many of you seem to be interested, I want to clarify with Bob, on the flyer that I gave you all, there were 4 accessories that were included, and I want to make sure that that is accurate. These were the 4 accessories, and we had a price of $89.95.
Yeah, the siphon, shake siphon is not included. That's it.
So there are 3 accessories that go with it? Okay. I'm sorry.
And I don't know if you have a telephone number. I mean, the number.
Oh,
I have an 800 number that might be on here. If you see it, I don't have it. I disconnected too many robocalls and stuff like that all day long, so I disconnected.
but we will get you all of that information if you decide that you need to order one. We'll talk about that in a moment. I'd like you to switch to the food. He brought 25 kits with him tonight. They are all spoken for. Just want you to know that. And I'll ask you if there's a possibility you could get more.
Yeah, I believe I probably could get more if we're talking maybe 10, maybe 5 to 10, something, anywhere in there. I have to, honestly, I have to pay $150 to have them delivered because it comes all the way from San Diego. I was going to go down myself and pick them up, but I don't want to drive all the way to San Diego. I got some other stuff besides these, so the trip was worth it. Yeah, you know, if there's other stuff, I don't stock a lot of stuff anymore because people wouldn't buy it. I did get some food bars and some water packets. If you're interested, enough people are interested, you can talk to Carolyn, and I'd be happy to get it. I'm just not going to buy 1 or 2 items, you know, but I'll be glad to help anybody out that needs anything like this, you know, whatever it is. Just don't call my 800 number.
I'm just curious how you have come. Are you, like, if you have special, well, I don't really have special, I'm very picky about you. How did you come to your information about this, what you put into the food boxes and your overall, and how did you do research? Are you in a scientific research or something?
You mean how did I come upon these?
Yeah, how did you know what to put in these boxes?
I didn't put them this way they come. They come from a factory like this.
Well, so you don't have a design, it's designed by, who designs them? Who decides what's going to
There's several places that you can get these. These are Augustin Farms. Now they have Mountain House, Wise Food. You might have seen Wise Food on TV. But those companies manufacture the food and put them together. Now Mountain House, I can't even get anymore. The government's bought them all out. They do that. Mountain House won't admit it. The government, anything that happens, the government will go in there and make a deal with Mountain House and say, you're only going to sell to us now. They take all this Mountain House and they put it underground and in storage and cities and whatever, you know, they haul all this stuff. Now the Augustin Farms, like I was telling Carolyn, they're a little hard to get a hold of. You can go online and all of them are out of stock right now. I just happened to find these at a place where I do business. And and they had a good price on them, so that's why I ordered them. If you need more food, if I can't get more of these, I can tell you I can get Wise Foods, they still have that. Just get a hold of me, tell me what you need, or I don't know if Carol, if she's around, you can talk to her, she can get a hold of me. But if you're going to do it quick. I ordered some Wise Food the other day for myself, and I think I got it in 3 days, which is a miracle. Now I deal with them, you know, I buy from them, but normally it takes anywhere from 8 to 12 weeks to get this. And if we have anything that happens, I don't know what, like I said, food store happens to get problems, anything can happen. I don't know, anything right now, I wouldn't be surprised if anything happened. If that's the case.
What's behind your thinking? It sounds like such a doomsday. Are you thinking rioters are going to come into the stores? There's tons of people.
See, I was even afraid to even bring this up. I don't want to sound like I don't want to sound like doom and gloom. I've been doing this for 12 years. I've talked to a lot of people over the years. It's like little pieces of puzzle. Every day I'm out there looking. I've talked to people in high places. I've talked to colonels that are top military. I'm starting to see the pieces go together now. I'm just seeing things, I'm hearing things, I'm talking to people. And, you know, I don't know how to say this, but you've turned on the TV, you see what's happening. You see in these cities, New York City, used to be a bustling city. Used to have stores, thousands of people walking around. It's not like it anymore. There's nobody on the streets hardly. All the stores are boarded up. These people, they're not what you call peaceful protesters. They're out there. They've even come out and said what they're going to do. They've said they're going to destroy the United States. I ain't saying that's what they're saying. They're going to burn down the United States. We've got a big election coming up in November. I don't care who wins, we're still going to have problems. I know who I'm voting for, but it's not going to solve the problem. It's just, you vote one way, your freedom's gone, everything's gone. You've lost everything. You vote the other way, you might have a fighting chance. I don't know.
John has a question.
Make a comment, please. Tell no one that you are a prepper. Neighbors know that you are a prepper. That's like putting a target on your house.
Right. Yeah, it's, I believe God has put me up here to tell you this, but you know, you want to get food and water for yourself, but there's going to be times when people are going to be starving, or you're going to see people starving. I think He's going to want you to share your food and water. I think you're not going to die. If you do, if you're, I'll say it, you have to be right with the Lord. You have to, I just believe, you know, you have to repent, you have to put your faith in Him. If you do this, He's not going to let something happen to you. You know, we're talking about anything could happen, food and water. I'm looking, okay, you're looking at COVID-19 right now, and you've seen the restrictions they put on it. There's going to be another wave coming, I can guarantee you. The globalists will send something else in. It's going to be worse than COVID-19, so they say, I don't know, maybe it will be, maybe not. But I think it's going to cause even more restrictions. I think we're going to be not only restricted to wearing masks 6 feet apart, we're going to be quarantined to our house arrest. I fully believe this. This is going to possibly bring on martial law. Martial law, if they declare martial law in this country, it's not going to be our troops that's going to be out there. The UN has full authority and national emergency to bring in their troops. Russian and Chinese troops is what's going to be out there. Now, I'm not saying this is going to happen. I'm not trying to scare anybody. I don't want to be doom and gloom. I'm just trying to warn people that this is a possibility. This is what they want. The globalists want a 95% reduction in all the world of people. They want to, I don't even want to go into that part of it because I could talk all night on it.
But that belongs to the Lord, I mean, and you don't want to be a spirit of fear, just overtake you, because that's also another
Okay. All right, so anyhow, the importance of food and water. You know, if something happens, people say, well, you know, an earthquake could disrupt your water lines. You're not going to have water coming into your house. It's possible you could, the water could be poisoned. It's a possibility.
Before we leave the topic of water, I just wanted to point out to you that there are other resources that you should have around. We all have the bottled water. There are some water cans you can buy, and there are some envelopes that are nice to have, particularly if you're on foot and you have to evacuate, but you need some water. These envelopes will get you by, and they're not heavy. So for me, I can't take a backpack that weighs more than me, so I have to think about stuff like that. So we'll talk more about water, and he does have sources, and we'll keep you informed on what you can get. As far as the food, we should have a year's supply. If you're part of the Mormon faith, you're told that you need to do that. But we need to get what we can, and these food kits are a really great start. So we'll try to get you more of those. But before Bob finishes, I wanted him to speak a little bit about generators. There are a lot of yeses and nos about generators, so Bob's the expert.
Hardly an expert. I just received a generator a couple of days ago that I had ordered. It's a hybrid gas, runs off of gas and propane. Rather expensive, but I think it'll come in handy. It's going to make a little bit of noise outside, but you know, the problem with these are you're going to have to store gas, you're going to have to store propane. We don't know if we're going to be able to get gas in an emergency. We don't know if we're going to be able to get propane in an emergency. I got one anyhow because I'm going to store a little bit, and I'm going to use this generator as much as you know, for what I need. The best thing, obviously, is a solar generator. If all your electric grid's down and you don't have any electricity, you can use a solar generator. You have battery pods and you have solar panels. again, you're going to need a lot of solar batteries to keep this thing running constantly. Whatever you, I would like to have one for my refrigerator and my freezer in case something happens. I would like for it to still be running, but you have to have quite a few batteries and to keep it running. And then you have to have quite a few solar panels to keep the batteries charged. So it's going to run into a little bit of money. I've been trying to find something for Maryland. You can, just for phone, and they have them. You can have those solar panels that are like that. You can roll them out, and hook them up, and hook your phone up to it, and it'll charge it. It may take us anywhere from 2 to 5 days to charge it. Some of them are pretty slow. I don't want to wait 2 to 5 days if I'm in a emergency mode. But right now, that's all I can find. So I'm still looking at if any of you know of any solar.
Vince, would you like to take a 30-second explanation of what you have?
Very quickly, do gas and propane, when you store them, do they have shelf life, or they have a microphone?
Mostly the propane will probably last a lot longer than the gas. Gas might last you a year. You might have to put some additives in it or something. And it's a little hard to store. So.
About 3 years ago, I bought the Yeti 1000 lithium-ion battery generator. It weighs 40 pounds. It can charge your phone in about 1 to 2 hours. It takes about 6 to 8 hours to charge outside with solar panels. I got mine on sale for $899. It runs over $1,000 regular, and they have different models. This one will power your washer dryer, your refrigerator. We had a rolling blackout last year. They Edison shut off our power, and this saved everything in our refrigerator. These are the Boulder 200-watt panels. It puts out about 135 watts in the sun, and they run $500. The good thing is these items are tax deductible on your federal. When you go to file, you get a $500 tax deduction. Yeah,
You said that 200-watt panels, but they put out 150 watts?
135 in the sun. The lithium ion, you don't want to put that out in 100-degree heat. It's not good for the battery. So I got an extension cable where I set the panels on my backyard deck, run the cable through my window, and then put the generator on a chair next to the window. And if the power's out, I can roll my refrigerator over and plug it into the generator, and the sun is going through the panels charge the generator, and then keeps your refrigerator running. So I think I had about 6 to 7 hours of power as a display panel. They're made in China, but they have some of them that even have a Wi-Fi built into them. They're like $1,500 bucks. It's the Yeti 1500 model. But you can go on Yeti Gold Zero website, and they have everything listed there. Gold Zero.
So we can address this. You now know who Vince is, and I will help all of you connect the dots. Whoever you need to talk to or whatever you want to find out about, we'll do what we can to help. We have some more things to share. Ron Gravette has a couple of things to share on water. But before we let Bob go, are there any other questions for him? Okay, can you speak up, Vic?
How does a bottled water compare to the tap water you can put in that big barrel? Just bottled water that you buy at the store or Costco?
Bottled water is fine. I suggest you buy all the bottled water you can and store it. This is backup. again, you're talking emergency, so you know, you don't have to be too particular. I mean, you don't have to have, but yeah, bottled water is fine. It's just that bottled water, you buy it by the case. If you have an earthquake, it could get smashed very easy. These things are pretty rugged. They're going to hold up in an earthquake. And this is one of the cheapest ways to store water. You know, like Carolyn was talking about the canned water, it'll last 50 years. It's good water. It's kind of expensive. And this is like $1 a gallon.
Where do you get canned water? Where do you get that?
Well, you can,
He supplies it.
I don't have a lot right now, but and it's expensive if you order it online. It's the weight. It's the weight of the water that's going to cost you. It's not the water. But it's going to be pretty expensive per gallon. This is like $1 per gallon.
And for the things that we need, this guy is in Highland. It's 15 minutes from here. So anything that we need, we can either individually go up and pick it up from him, order and pick it up, or we might group together and be able to supply it. I believe Dale Broom has offered to go up and pick up the water barrels that have been ordered, and he is kind enough to bring them all to a central location so that we can pick them up. A water barrel will fit in the back seat of your car. Jan?
We've been taking milk cartons, we clean them out, clean them water, storing them in our garage. How long will that last?
Well, I don't actually think that's a good idea, to be honest with you, because it's just like a lot of people tell me they can get water drums for $15. They've been used. All they have in them is just a little whatever, Kool-Aid. Doesn't matter, because what's been in there is going to eventually seep back into the water, especially if it gets warm, and that water is going to get contaminated. So I really don't suggest doing that. You're better off just to get a little bottled water by the case at the grocery store. That's just my opinion. I don't want to. If you've got a lot of, if you can use it right away, but the longer it sits, the more you're going to have problems with that.
Okay, let's move it on, and I'd like to ask Ron Gravette to come up to the front. He has some interesting things to share. And thank you, Bob, for taking time to come and talk to us. And of course, he has all of the kits with him for everyone who has ordered. They'll be available right after our meeting. So Ron, you haven't had a chance to unpack your things, but let me I'll speak for him just a little bit while he's getting ready. Ron, again, is the guy that actually got me started. And this was through Oath Keepers. If some of you ever went to Calamasa, we might have met there. However, what he really sold me on was the Berkey water filter. Did you bring one tonight, Ron?
No, I didn't. I discovered I was out of it.
Okay, he says he's out of them, but I'm going to take a moment to tell you I have one and I love it. And I make the coffee in the morning, every morning, with the filtered water in my Berkey system. And he will tell you the technical aspects of it, but I just really enjoy the pure water. It's very tasty. And I have the Keurig coffee machine, and I'm lazy. I hate to clean that thing up. And with this filtered water, I've gone months and months without stopping to clean it. So Berkey is Berkey. And again, these are just out of stock here recently. You can hardly get them. And this is the big reason why we're being the Smart Club, because we're preparing ourselves and getting some of these things while they are still available. Okay, you ready?
Thank you, Carolyn. Appreciate all your work. And you and Greg have done a great job with the Tea Party. And we all been there and can attest to that. And what a great thing it is to be able to work with people that are like-minded, believers in Jesus and in the Lord and His protection over us. And we are... Oh, okay. That could be a good thing. I have been involved in the survival field since Y2K. And some of you weren't alive then probably, but we've been meeting in small groups, and starting with the churches, and we developed support groups that are still, several of them are still around today. And we meet for prayer meetings, and we even started baking, with whole wheat and grinding and everything ourselves. But I'm going to have to really limit myself tonight. I've been in police work and fire departments and also teaching, and they're all equally dangerous. The teaching might be a little worse. In high school, I did have some Hell's Angels in my classes, and in that part of it. I'm going to start, since we are really on water, I'm going to start there. I've got comments on self-protection, hiding things from people, but I'm going to start with the water. And the lady who left, I did have an answer. I believe she said, do we believe that there would actually be break-ins and people that are protesting get in the stores? And my answer would be definitely yes. They already have. So we have to prepare for different things that might happen, different scenarios. And a lot of what we do is just common sense, isn't it? Ways to protect ourselves are not that hard to foresee. I have an awful lot to go through with my background and the church groups and all those experts that I came across. But I'm going to start with water. I'm going to get right down. There are a lot of different purifiers. Berkey is number one. I've been a dealer since Y2K, but they have taken off. They're not really dependable in getting replacement filters. So I'm working with the president, but they are overwhelmed. Now I have a solution, and I want to thank, was it Bob? He was, not yet. I want to thank Bob for his insight and information that he gave. I would like to extend on what he presented. There's a whole new dimension to water purification and storage. And I would like to concentrate on something that very few people are aware of or talking about, and that is a chemical. It's called calcium hydrochloride. Maybe some of you chemists will be aware of this. This is it's related to chlorine bleach, but it's much, much different. This formula, where you add bleach in the water to a barrel, you would add many drops up to tablespoons in a 55-gallon drum. The calcium hydrochloride is another chemical used for water purification and pools, but the difference is it frees up the need to store so much water because it will purify anything. So if we have a real crisis, there are lakes around here that we could go and get 5-gallon jugs to fill, and bringing these back purify the water. Now you would always need to have t-shirts, clean t-shirts, and things to use as filters. Anything you get, pour through the filters into another container. But the calcium hypochlorite is very, very important because it's a powder And I will bring the exact instructions on how to use this in liquid form. And it's used by our military. And it is the main thing they use to purify water. They don't have the facilities, probably or the money, to have filters and troops carrying it. This will act as an instant purifier. If you pour, let's say, bleach, several drops into a barrel or anything, it will be gone in about 2 months. It has no more effect. And it stops killing germs in the water. Calcium hypochlorite kills everything in the water.
Is it hydro or hydro?
Hydro. Calcium hydrochloride. 5 minutes, okay. I could close in prayer right now and it would be. This is going to be very short and but effective. You get this in powder form. The pool supplies carry this. But every time this is brought up, they run out. So you can get a 1 pound bag of this at, is it Leslie's Pool Supply? And some of the others. You can make several thousand gallons with one bag, not hundreds or dozens. It's so concentrated that you can make at least 3,000 to 4,000 gallons. I'm going to put together the cost per bag is, I think it's $6, $6.50 or something.
And how much do you use per gallon when you're buying on aluminum boards each shovel?
Well, there's a formula. I've got the information. I didn't have time. I didn't know we were going to be talking so much about water. But I will bring the instructions and everything. And it's backed by the government and OSHA and all of those as for safety. A lot of the things that you get, the pills and the powders, there's really no way to know for sure. But when you use this in the proper amounts, it's the government backs it up. There's actually a couple of websites. Yes, I would be a source.
I don't know if you heard my question. I'm asking him if he would be a resource for supplying it to anyone that wants it.
Yeah, I have already ordered large amounts of the bags, and this answers the question many people have. What do we do if the water's been sitting there for a while and nobody knows if it's good, if it tastes good or not? But this is one way to be sure, because you can purify it whenever you need it. And you have the powder and you have the liquid form there. I'll put this all on paper and supply this to Carolyn Tea Party meetings or whatever.
We're going to open our website to provide information of this sort. So we'll put this on the list and we will supply information. Let's move on to your safety items, the whistles and the pepper spray.
Okay, the two things next important, but I'm glad that you concentrated on the water, because that's number one in importance. Okay, in your house, I just had a few comments. Safety. There are so many things going on in the neighborhoods, as you know, and you don't know when somebody comes to the door what's going to happen. Who are they? What do they want? It's going to get crazy. I'll start with the whistles. These are the loudest whistles made, and everybody should be carrying one of these. There's a smaller one. This goes easily on your keychain. These are the loudest whistles you can buy. Now, if people think they're going to be dangerous, well, really not. They're not going to deafen you unless you're close to somebody and blow it at the top of your lungs. That could be a problem. But they're not in themselves dangerous like many people think. Okay, this is the one that fits on your keychain. It's not quite as loud as this one. This is really loud. I had a young friend that worked at a liquor store a few months ago. And I took him one of these and I said, put one of these near the cash box. He said, register. He said, how come? I said, well, do you have any weird people that come in? Well, yeah. It was just a week later. It was embarrassing. He hugged me in front of several people. He said, you can't imagine the effect this had. A guy came in, he was dressed in a large, coat and stuff, and he was stealing stuff, and he came back in for another load, and finally blew the whistle, and the guy just took off running. And the valuable thing is that he had about a dozen witnesses that came to see what the whistle was all about. Boy, you're really pushy. She's a great friend.
I just don't want you to get bored out there and say, I don't want to listen anymore. So this is very important stuff, but let's get the prices. And I want you to know, folks, that he's doing this as kind of a favor to me, because I know that we need to have some of these things, and nobody's making any money off of them. So he can tell you how much they are.
Okay. These, I rounded it off a few cents, but I'm not sure. I'm charging what I paid for it. These are $3.50. Retailer about $7. These are $4. So $3.50 and $4. This is the loudest, and this is a little bit hard to carry with you because of the size, but it has a convenient thing. You put it in your mouth, it stays there and doesn't fall out while you're blowing it. Okay, any questions on those? Okay.
That's really good to have on the nightstand, that real loud one, it's awkward.
This?
Yes, I think the ladies that would be really great to have on their nightstand.
People at the football games at Ukaipa High, several have told me that when they're going out to their cars after the game, somebody's trying to get in the back window. They have blown this, and they have about 50 witnesses saying, what was that? And they're all running towards where the sound came from. They're very helpful, and they're very safe to use. They're storm whistle. Actually, they started back east. People that would hear on the radio where the storms and hurricanes come, they would hear a report. They'd go out in the backyard and start blowing the whistle. Pretty soon the whole neighborhood is blowing the whistle. So it's a really quick way to alert somebody. This is the ultimate signaling device. This is a foghorn, and it is well over 140 decibels. I recommend to people, keep it near your front door because so many things happen there. And if you get into some kind of an undesirable thing, honk this, and the whole neighborhood will know immediately. Well, these are available at Walmart. I'm not in the sales business. I'll tell you where to get it. These, to get the good price, I have to buy 100 at a time. Okay, let's go to the pepper spray. By the way, I'll throw this in. I'll bring ham radios later too to be sure, but everybody needs one of these. It's just AM, FM radio to see what's going on. You can keep it even in your purse. I don't know about your wallet, but have it handy. Okay, this is the pepper spray that I'm involved in. This is the most powerful you can buy. The police use, it's based on different heat units, Scoville heat units, and that's how they define the power of it. The police are carrying usually anywhere from 4.5 to 4.7 Scoville heat units. This has, now that's million. This has 5.3 million. It is by far the strongest you can buy. This is very effective on people and dogs or other animals. This is the thing you must have. Now, ladies, if you're, okay, if there are two, this is the small one. I'm out of these. And this is the small one, 1/2 ounce. It is $15. The 2 ounce is $20. Again, this is my cost. I know the owner of this company, and
I'm interrupting him again, but I want to verify with you that I have checked out prices on Amazon for these products. You can't buy Fox on Amazon, but you can buy other brands, and they're more money. The big pepper spray is like $25. So this is not a bad idea. If you're interested in these, it's not like we're trying to push it. And after the meeting, if you want any of these things, Ron is here and you deal directly with him on them.
one other thing, nobody else offers this, but it's Sudocon, and it will, if you accidentally spray yourself, which you need to be very careful, because this stuff is really extremely powerful. But if you do, one of these up and just rub your face with it, and this undoes the harmful effects.
What's that called?
Sudocon. It's anti-pepper spray. You don't buy this in any store that I've seen. I order it from the factory. And as I say, they are completely out. Their production of these, they're way behind. But he did tell me that if I told him it was for the churches and tea parties and stuff, he said, okay, I will make sure, give me the order, and I will make sure you get it. And I have his cell phone and his home phone, and if there's any problem, he will take care of it. So that's another advantage of having him as a friend. I'll stop now because Carolyn's going to stop me if I don't stop myself.
He hates me, but he loves me.
It's great to be among friends, even if they're not yours.
There are two questions in the back. Sam?
Yeah.
Come up to the front to ask your question, please.
Rob, if I were to buy this whistle now, can I demonstrate it here now?
You would have to get their permission, but I'm all
And I'm not buying it.
I want to hear it.
Am I buying it or not? My wife is outside. She's gonna come. It's not gonna call,
people. It's not really dangerous, but the more you blow, the louder it gets. So
if I blow this whistle, my wife will come.
she would jump in the car and leave. Okay, get the change. Okay, any questions?
Oh, made in USA.
Okay, Jen? How you doing?
I've sat and talked with you several times at the tea parties, that survival stuff.
And your question?
Yes.
So, my husband and I have a crank radio. And we have a dial telephone, so that if your electricity goes out, you can still plug your phone into the wall. So those are just two things I thought might be good.
Cool. That's what this is all about, is sharing information and knowing each other.
Somebody told me that bear spray is better than pepper spray.
Bear spray is pepper spray. And the only difference The bear spray is not any stronger than this. The difference is there's a lot of it. It's a big container. That's the only difference.
Okay, there's a question in the back.
Actually, the point of information, I believe you said, you said that the air horn had 140 decibel output?
Yeah.
Okay, I was in charge of the design of the Canadian National Warning System to replace the 50s siren system during the early 80s. I was model work the warning system. I need to caution you on one thing, how you're aiming that 128 decibels is threshold of pain. For anybody that's in front of, it's measured at 100 feet on beam, anybody who's in front of that, above 128 decibels, you are physically damaging the ears and it's threshold of pain. You don't want to point it this way or that way, you want to point it far away from it. So you can damage your own hearing.
You should be in the front.
My wife Deanna is part of the group, last time I worked on
He
this.
said 128 decibels is the threshold of pain. So that air horn is 140 decibels.
That'll knock somebody on their butt.
Yeah, you want to hold it away from yourself.
This would damage your ear, yeah. If it was close.
Okay, thank you, Ron, and he will be here if you would like any of the things he has to offer. Greg, would you come out? Greg?